Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the GCUC Podcast. I'm ridiculously excited. We have a very special guest with us today. He is the CEO and co founder of x+why, Rupert Dean. Rupert, it's a new year. How the hell are you?
Liz, 2026. It's great to be here, and I'm excited for 2026
Yay!
and all the excitement that it can bring here over in the UK. It's gonna be interesting.
Love it. Love it. Well, we're going to dig more into that. But I want to start out first with your morning routine. This is something I've been asking everybody lately because I have found that the consistency of my morning routine really sets the pace for my day and my life. And I'm curious what your morning routine looks like.
Good question. So I will always get up at about 6 o'clock, and hang on. The alarm will go off at 6 o'clock. The intention is to get out, go and do some sort of exercise, see the kids, have breakfast with them, go to work. But quite often, the snooze button on the alarm is hit. And I have been known to sort of just go straight to breakfast with the kids and miss out on the exercise, um, which is probably quite self-evident if you ever met me. But there's always a good intention. So I'll try and do a bit of Peloton, bit of like some sort of
Nice.
stretching, maybe a bit of Pilates or something. Very bad back, showing
Mm,
my age.
mm,
So we'll do that, and then it'll be a mad breakfast with the children, because I
right.
know that that's when I'll see them every time, because it's unlikely I get back from work in time to be able to do them in the evening. So we'll do that, and I might drop them off at school if it's a particularly bad day and Tanya can't do it. So and then we'll go straight on the train, where I'll avoid everyone I possibly can, because everyone
Right.
knows that first thing in the morning when you're on a train, no one should be speaking to each other. And then I get into town and I'll go to wherever I need to go for a meeting or anything else that's happening that day.
Love it. So I'm going to challenge you in 2026. Let's not snooze. It's very bad for you. And you don't get good extra sleep. It's been proven. And there's a very popular podcaster here, and also author named Mel Robbins. And I love this. She has a little countdown thing. So it goes off and you just go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and you get up.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think subconsciously that's what I try and do. I go like, and
Hmm.
it usually it works. You go sort of, okay, I'll quickly look at sort of my emails, quick look at Twitter, three, two,
Hmm.
one, let's go. And then just suddenly I'll go 3, 2, snooze. And then we're at all. But no, I agree. Let's make it a New Year's resolution. No snoozing. Straight
Yep.
up every
Love it.
every morning, and then off we go.
Love it. Love it. That alone is going to make a difference.
I think that's the start. That's the new regime
That's the
right
start.
there.
That's the start. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay, so for those of the people listening who don't know x+why, can you tell us a little bit about who x+why is and why you started it?
Sure. So started in 2019, and I would describe ourselves as a sort of hospitality operator operating across all spectrums of commercial real estate. So anything from front of house, food and beverage, co-working, obviously, events, private dining, meetings, uh, anything as part of a single journey for everybody in a building, not just the sort of co-working
Mhm.
tenants, members in there. And we operate across about nearly 600,000 square foot across the UK. And sometimes we do all of those things in a building. Sometimes we'll just do events. Sometimes we'll just do amenities. Sometimes we'll just do co-working. We like it when it all comes together. We really
Mhm.
like it because I think that it improves the tenant journey. I really like the mix of experience, and I really like the fact that, whenever there's an issue, you can resolve it because you're operating across the spectrum. But also, I think that it provides a better experience for what the office space should be today,
Mhm.
which is more than just desks and chairs, as I'm sure we'll both agree.
So you guys don't own and operate your own. You only work for real estate folks who need help.
At the moment, we're a pure opco, if you like,
Mhm.
and we'll work with commercial landlords or developers who either want to put in a sort of high-end
Mhm.
amenity or want to create or have a different reason for wanting to operate co-working, for example, or it's on the basis of increased commercials, or we are a solution provider where there are particular issues in space. So that's our relationship with landlords essentially, and we then report back to them, hit the budget, and hopefully make a great success of it.
I love it. I love it. And what gave you the inspiration to do this? Because you were a financial solicitor and now this is a huge shift. Why the shift?
Madness. Total
Yeah,
madness, Liz.
total madness. It
Total
makes
madness.
sense.
What was I thinking? What are you doing? So, yes, you're dead right. I was a corporate finance solicitor. Didn't like it. Didn't like it.
I find that shocking.
Weird. Weird. Why not? So what I found though, so what's quite interesting is that when you're in a law firm, it's a sort of partnership model. It might be the same most places, but here in the UK for sure, it's a partnership model principally, which means that that partner is responsible for their book of business, and they drive very hard at hitting certain numbers, either to make equity returns or to make greater bonus returns or higher salaries or whatever it is. There is no resonance to brand. There's no underlying mission or reason for doing it other than bottom line and bottom line alone. And the cash, and it's all sorry for all lawyers out there in advance, but it felt like a bit of a trap, right? It's not quite enough to get a sunseeker, Liz, and but enough to keep you there because it pays the bills and means you can have fun.
Right.
But it didn't really give me, just a personal experience, it didn't really give me a lot of sort of meaning for getting out of bed in the morning. So I went on this kind of journey to work out what the why was that would get me, inspired every day to get out of bed and do it and not hit the snooze button. And so naturally, I went off to set up a business with a couple of others operating in Africa, and we set up a real estate platform predominantly in East Africa. And I could talk for hours and end about it, but one of the things that we ended up doing was I acquired a serviced office business as part of that. And that's when I really got under the model and I got under the skin of it and I loved it. And I set up all of these offices around Africa, which was really interesting. But weirdly, as part of that, what I'd go and do is try and sort of raise some money to do the fit out or enter into the lease or whatever it was. And we were a UK operating company in sub-Saharan Africa. So we'd say, look, come on, guys, give us some cheap debt to the OPICs and the IFCs and the DFIDs and things like that. And they'd say quite often, no. And I'd be like, well, why wouldn't you do that? Look, I'm so nice. You should definitely give us some money. And they said, well, Rupert, the thing is that what you talk a lot about is servicing this debt through expansion and growth of bottom line. But what we really want to hear is promotion of business between borders, promotion of entrepreneurship, mentorship, access to office space for people who wouldn't otherwise be able to do it. So they wanted that really kind of social impact element. And it kind of got me thinking about this idea of the role of business in shaping society and having really important kind of social elements and mission. And so I sort of started looking at the role of business in solving some of the world's problems, etc. I came across Simon Sinek's sort of Know Your Why, which I'm sure and loads of listeners will know about. And I started looking at the B Corp movement and other movements like that. And I thought, hang on, there's something really interesting here about the role of better business, or those businesses that think about people and planet, and what they do to create more long-term, sustainable and profitable brands, essentially, because people want to work for them, suppliers want to supply to them, and you and I as customers want to buy from them. So at the same time, I loved the kind of co-working thing, and I really saw, despite the kind of WeWork destruction, I really saw the long-term benefit of that for companies who didn't want to take long-term risk and only wanted to take the space that they needed, all that sort of usual stuff. And I thought, well, wouldn't it be great to combine those two things? So really cool environments, so kind of flexible workspace environments where we can unite those types of businesses that thought about people and planet as well as profit, inspire them every day, and then amplify those that did it really well. Hence, x+why, which essentially means brand X are those businesses that don't care about people or have forgotten what they started for, just care about making money,
Right.
hark back to the law firm. And then brand why, which are those companies that have a real mission, are changing what they set out to do, really think about people and planet, survive recessions, build fans, not customers, can even charge a premium, that sort of thing. And I thought what we need to do is get more companies going from brand X to brand Y. And we set up X and Y.
Love it. Love it. And how many locations are you guys operating at this point?
So about 15 locations across the UK.
Wow.
A few more coming next year, which is exciting. And I mean, I'm sure we'll touch on it, but they're purely management agreements at the moment that we enter into. And so post-COVID, or even during COVID, it was a really kind of interesting time for us because is that the last time we mentioned COVID? It should be. But it was a really interesting time for us because, because we had only got management agreements, we were able to
Right.
liaise with the landlords, but we were also able to go out on a bit of a business development drive because lots of other operators in the market were really struggling because they'd taken conventional leases,
Right.
usual story. And so coming out of 2023, we opened lots in 24, opened lots this year, and now it's, you consolidate, change manage because you get new buildings, change brand a little bit, tweak things, and keep adapting to make sure that you're always sort of creating that first mover advantage or maintaining that first mover advantage. And I think the brand resonates.
Yeah, and I think one of the things, so I was really intrigued at Coworking Europe in Berlin. I saw your talk. And I loved you put up a photo with a child running in the foreground. And I was like, why is there a child in the club? And then you explained that you have this really amazing service where people can bring their children in. Children have a fantastic experience. You guys get a little break on a Sunday afternoon. And that was fantastic, but I think one of the things that we're seeing a lot more of is this leaning into private kind of club space and
Yeah.
also really high-end wellness. So tell us a little bit about what landlords are looking for from you right now and what's working really well.
Yes. So, I mean, listen, every building is totally unique, both in its heritage, obviously its history, but also its vision and what the landlord vision is as well. And so we will always
Mhm.
come in with a concept
Mhm.
that we will agree with the landlord that we think will work for that particular building. And you're right that one of the things that we've ended up doing, quite well, there's this sort of concept of members club spaces, which are, or even where I am now, which is a sort of full on members club. And I really love the idea that, as I said at the beginning, that the office is not about the desk and chair. I really love the idea, and I know that you're a big proponent of this as well, that people want to come together, right? And that they love the idea of coming together. And we can get quite sort of deep about this, but I do, you do slightly worry about people kind of on their own, working at home or working, in a way on social media, whatever those things are,
I feel
and they
like
need to come together.
slightly worry is a gigantic understatement. Like,
Yeah,
we should all be panicked about how to help solve this loneliness epidemic that is actually leading to ridiculous amounts of people dying by suicide.
it's crazy and
Yeah.
it's frightening and it's rising all the time.
Mhm. Yep.
And and I think that obviously there are lots of reasons for it, and the growth of social media and that
Mhm.
allied
Mhm.
with sort of AI in the future and all of those sorts of things that are as responsible as anything else. But obviously now you've got the work from home thing, which is a very real thing as well, which is almost a conduit to some of this stuff happening. So I love the idea that even if it wasn't about coming into the office to sit at the desk and chair, that you would come in for some other reason
Right.
and to meet like-minded people, to have fun, to learn, to engage, to
Mhm.
be mentored, all those sorts of things. And so the members club space is this idea that you can come in and you'll know someone. Even if you don't
Mhm.
deliberately come in to see someone, you'll know someone or our team will look after you. But that you could get there and you could have something to eat. You could have a gin and tonic if that's what you really wanted. You could come to a really interesting event. You could learn, or you can let your hair down, choose your own adventure. You can do a workout, whatever it is. And you're right that one of the things that has worked really well is specifically where we are right now. It's sort of like what people call Nappy Valley. in Clapham Junction, where lots of young families have houses around here and lots of young children, and they'll go into London to sometimes go and work, or they'll work from home, and they'll be surrounded by their dog, their cat, their parrot, 3 children or whatever. Nightmare. And they will want to come out, and this is a sort of destination for them to come out. And on a Sunday, we then have this partnership with this super cool kind of sort of entertainment company that doesn't just do children's entertainment, does adults entertainment as well, called Sharky and George. Great name. And so they come in, they look after, your kids when you come in on a Sunday, and you can have your friends, family, guests, whatever, have a roast, have some wine whilst the kids are being looked after, and you can have that kind of time that you need whilst you know that the kids aren't on their iPads, aren't watching TV, are being stimulated and are having far more fun than they would otherwise stuck at home with the dog, the cat, and the parrots. And I love it. And I literally, it is, I always come in on a Sunday.
Yeah.
I think it's a great outsource for childcare, basically.
Yeah.
So I come in on the train about 35 minutes, bring some friends along, and we all have a great time on a Sunday. And that's just what you can do in these spaces. I think it's really interesting.
Hey guys, just breaking in with a quick little Juicy ad for you. We're going to be hosting Juicy in New York City. It'll be our 50th Juicy and our 5th in New York. So please join us. It's going to be a lot of fun. You can pick up your tickets at na.gcuc.co. And we also have 2 events coming at you from Juicy UK again next year. In June, we'll be in Manchester, and in October, we'll be in London. You can pick up your tickets for that event at uk.juicy.co. And very exciting news as well, we have just newly announced that we're heading to Africa. Join us in Cape Town in September. You can pick up those tickets at africa.juicy.co. We're working to bring you even more. If you're interested in hosting a Juicy event in your part of the woods, please reach out to us at info.juicy.co. If you're interested in sponsorship, you can definitely hit us up. The best person to email for that is liz@juicy.co. Or if you want to have a conversation about a speaking idea or being on the podcast, we also sell ads as well. So feel free just to shoot us a message if you want to learn more about that. That's all we got for now. Have a great day.
I love it. Well, I've also seen a lot of people really struggle with the F&B. How have you guys been able to make that work so well?
Yeah, so a lot of people will partner on F&B, which I actually just don't really believe in. I really like to self-deliver it because space can change. So you can have a relationship with an outsourced party that says this space will do this thing, and this is the relationship between us to make that happen. Lo and behold, people use space in a different way. It turns out that's not as revenue generating as you thought, and you need to adapt it. So you go to the F&B partner and you say, no, we're just going to turn this into some event space or do something different. And they're like, nah, that's not the arrangement, and it all falls apart. Plus, I want to be able to feed into the menu. I want to be able to feed into the drinks menus, whatever it is. And I want to be in the detail of that. So how have we made it work? To be honest, Liz, I don't really know. Like, what I do know is that you need 1,000 different ways to make revenue out of food and beverage. You can't what doesn't make money is simply waiting for people to turn up like a restaurant and buy food and beverage. Like, so club revenue just doesn't work. It's one line, but it just doesn't work. You got to understand, you're not a restaurant, okay? Where the restaurant model, where you are, you've got a very clear brand, you've got a very good prominent street location. People come in, you want them in, you want them out, you want them in, you want them out, covers. Here it's so different. You want people to come for half an hour, but stay for 4 hours. And the reason for that, there's many reasons, but mostly because they're around like-minded and interesting people, and there's a really interesting program. But you also, on top of that, you need events. You need private dining and meeting rooms. You need club F&B. You need to find other ways that you can get workspace members in there to do really fast food at affordable prices. So you can do it, but you wouldn't just do it alone. It has to be it has to be central in the whole experience, that the wider workspace and the wider event space and the wider meeting rooms and everything else that you do combine, come and do and how they work together. And I think if you can do it, it's really cool. It's really interesting. Plus, it's just fun.
I know, and I love the one thing you said, which is you can't just sit back and wait for them to come to you like a restaurant. You have to do something to get them moving towards you. And and I also think in today's day and age, people are want you to schedule things for them. They want you to be like, "Hey, here's this shiny thing over here." And then they'll go towards it. But there's a lot of I think natural anxiety happening where people are afraid to to do things. And so helping them feel connected, helping them share a meal with somebody is huge and
Yeah.
so needed in today's society.
And I think that the thing you touch on there is the individual, right? So, and it's
Mhm.
very different. And I said this at the conference. It's very different selling to an individual than it is to a company corporate. So the B2B versus the B2C model
Mhm.
is very, very different. You have to be very deliberate in what you're providing. You have to be very deliberate
Mhm.
on brand. You have to be very deliberate on your membership program, on your target market, all of those sorts of things. And you might start off as one thing, but you're then constantly adapting it as you get feedback and as you can see how space is working, how people are responding to it, what people will like on the membership program, what they don't like, what's popular, what's not popular. And
Mhm.
eventually, if you can have this sort of constant adapting, this kind of infinite game mentality, you can create something that captures the widest target market, and
Yeah.
it then becomes really like self-fulfilling, and you could just grow and feed off it, and you can then like all the fun then starts happening. You meet really interesting people; they always come together,
Mhm.
and it's fun.
I have I always get frustrated as we're seeing more and more corporates come into the space. People are like, "Well, what do you do if, Google sends 100 people in?" And I'm like, they're not sending in people with Google stamped on their forehead. These are all individual humans, and
Yeah,
you can treat them just like a person, like they're
yeah.
a person. And so, how are you handling the influx of corporates? Are you just treating them like people?
Totally. I'd love to have 100 Google employees come in. They're welcome anytime
Yeah,
at X and Y for
yeah.
sure. I think, look, in most of our spaces, you have to be a member to be able to access unless you're booking an event space or a meeting room. So
Mhm,
you can curate the membership, right? To some extent, well, to a total extent, you can.
mhm,
And it's often quite often, as I said, shaped by where you are in, say,
mhm.
in London or wherever it is, because you have to just look at the target market that's going to use that, and usually it's within the imminent area that your members will come. It's unlikely that they'll travel very far unless you're like a very high end Annabelle's or Coco Club or Groucho Club or whatever it is. You have to build up to those sorts of brands. So I think you can always control the influx of people, but I totally agree that every individual is welcomed in the same way, is
Yeah,
treated in the same way, is engaged with in the same way. And I love the idea that you can have a total mismatch of people and personalities in a
mhm.
space. That's the joy, right? So you can walk around, you can meet loads of different people. I always remember my best day at X and Y. At X and Y, one of my best days was I came into work, I did a little work, I met three interesting people, I did a yoga session, I had a talk in the evening, and then I met some people for drinks after that. And it was just like, yeah, that's what it's all about. It was just a bit of
Yeah.
learning, a bit of fun, bit of exercise, couple of drinks, and then off we went. And thank you very much. That's a fantastic work day, and it was interesting.
I love it. I love it. Well, one of the things I'm seeing here in Austin, Texas, is they're opening up these high-end wellness spaces. Like
Yeah.
even Meow Wolf is opening up this insane bathhouse here. Now, I personally don't really want to conduct a ton of business in a bikini or whatever or sweating, but a lot of people do.
Mm.
And there's a new workspace here called Jevity, which is just absolutely beautiful co-working space with ridiculous wellness amenities. Where do you see the workspace and the wellness colliding over the next few years?
Yeah, so I think there is a difference between, again, the corporate and the individual. So I totally agree. If you're in a workspace, the feedback is always, I don't want to do downward dog next to my boss. I just
Mm,
just don't let me go into a gym where I'm going to be sweating. Don't let me be in a bikini or my or get changed in a changing room next to my boss.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm always sort of slightly wary of that. So I think
Mm-hmm.
it has to have an external kind of membership base of individuals that come and access that on an independent basis.
Mm-hmm.
But that people can use on the workspace if you really want. Maybe it's at a discount, maybe it's free in their membership, whatever. So you give them the choice. I certainly wouldn't be relying on those customers in your workspace to underwrite the revenue that you need to be hitting on those sort of things. Quite often, it's a bit like food and beverage in that respect. If you have a food and beverage place that's quite prominent on a streetwise, and you
Mm-hmm.
can let externals come in, you're more likely to make it succeed. And so I definitely think there's a place for it. I definitely love it. I just think a lot of people, I like the idea of going all in,
Mm-hmm.
but external memberships probably going to be the bulk of it, but it's quite a cool selling point for workspace in the building. But I certainly wouldn't go sort of just putting in a room and we've all made this mistake. I'm sure every operator's made this mistake. And then you just create a room and you put some yoga mats down. You go well-being check. That never
Mm-hmm.
really works. That never. I refuse to think that works.
Well, and like I am really in 2026, I am really pushing CEOs and brands to pay attention to the mental health aspect.
Yeah.
If you're willing to spend money on physical health, you need to be willing to spend money on mental health. And I would really like
Yeah.
to see, and I'm going to talk about this in New York at Juicy, I would really like to see every co-working space in the world offering free mental health services, because that way we can remove the barriers to entry and we can give real help where people spend the majority of their day, which is at the workplace.
Yeah, I think that's really interesting. And I think what's interesting about it is I might come at a different angle, right? Which is that
Okay.
I think it is an obligation to be able to provide on a reactive basis mental health support. I think
Mm-hmm.
what people need to feel is that they have a balanced mental health as a result, not just of coming in, same point again, not just of
Mm-hmm.
coming in deliberately to sit at a desk, but that they
Mm-hmm.
can come in to meet interesting people, but to do well-being if that's what they want to do, to come in to learn, to listen to, I don't know, Richard Branson talk about entrepreneurship if that's your thing, to come and do painting by numbers again if that's your thing, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
But that gives you a choice that means that you're not just going for a deliberate point to work, but you're going there to broaden your mindset generally, which is what
Yes.
generally leads to this epidemic. It's that people are at home, right? And they're doing singular activities, or they're going to the office and they're doing singular activities, and then they just go home,
Mm-hmm.
go onto the laptop and done. And so I do think mental health support is like critical. I absolutely do. But I think it must go hand in hand with a broader ability to be able to access interesting activities or content that can
Totally.
broaden your mindset,
Yeah.
essentially.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And then your hospitality influence is strong. What got you so in depth on hospitality? Was it because you read Unreasonable Hospitality because I told you to?
You know that. You know that. Love that book. Love that book. It's one of those books that everyone's so bored of me talking about it at work. They're like,
But you
can
know
you
what?
just stop?
It was the easiest business book I've ever read. And I've
So-
read hundreds. And it was the first one that I enjoyed reading, to be perfectly honest. Like I
I
slugged
agree.
through the rest because I feel like they really just repeat the same shit over and over. But
Yeah.
this one was easy and entertaining.
Yeah, it's like usually it's like a diatribe of this is what you've got to do because I did it and I'm awesome. But this was really interesting, and I thought, well, just for those who haven't read it, I just think it's a good read because the beginning sets the tone so well.
Yeah.
You know, this idea that someone can go into a conference to work out what number they are in the top
Mm-hmm.
50 best restaurants in the world, and they are disappointed because they're number 50, and it's all about how they can get from number 50 to number 1.
Mm-hmm.
And put me in the top 50. I'm like,
Yeah.
woo, high five. And so, you know, it's like how you go above and beyond the norm and above and beyond the exceptional to be able to provide that level of service that can make you at the very top of the value chain. And I just think there's so many good, interesting learnings. And I love like things like the Dreamweaver stuff.
Uh-huh.
And it's the point is about experience. And I think X and Y, I really want X and Y to be very experience driven. right? So this point that you can choose your own adventure within pillars of impact, F&B, fun, learning, well-being, whatever it is, that not just at the site there where you go and work, but across the whole, but across multiple sites, right? So if you want to go and listen to Richard Branson, go over there. If you want to listen to someone talk about fireside chat about impact, go over there. If you want to DJ with till 2 a.m. dancing, go over there. And I love that is so much more than work. And and it comes back to this idea that, we all come together to, whenever we see the family, whenever we're with friends, quite often, 90% of the time, I don't know about you, but that we'll do it over food and drink, right? We'll come together and we'll eat, we'll come together and we'll drink, we'll have a great time. And I think, why is that not the case at work for a business? Why can't they come together and have the same opportunity to bring their team together, to learn together, to mentor each other, etc., and have fun. And there is such a connection between the office and culture, right? Where culture exists, the office must exist, because people, you cannot build culture across the internet, right? That's why there's always a place for the physical in the office. And I think that we need to make sure that we are always enhancing that ability to outsource that cultural element to some extent. Every company is unique, but if we can try and sort of support them in building culture, then you have a real value proposition. And the unreasonable hospitality approach is about experience and how you can provide that to be able to enhance someone's time.
I love it so much. And I want to end on that note, but I'm not going to, because I love talking to you so much. So I'm going to ask you a zinger of a question, because that's fun. It's fun for me. What question should I have asked you, but I didn't? And then you have to answer it.
Spiritual animal. No, I think, what about, would we ever go abroad, or would I ever do anything beyond just the office?
Okay, good.
And the other, I think yes to both of those things, by the way. I know you only asked for one, but I think, would we do something cool like hotels? I think
that.
You create a kind of hospitality platform that can go off and do something more than just the office space. And I think we've always been, myself and the co-founders have always been interested at the concept of doing something like that. Maybe together.
You are the second CEO I've talked to in London in the past 24 hours that has talked about going into hotels, which is so interesting, because hotels have gone into co-working. So now we're going to go the opposite way, which I love. Let's do it.
I love the idea that you can do a bit of stay, bit of work, bit of play, all under one roof, and just do it properly. Not many people do it. A lot of people do the stay bit, but don't necessarily do the work bit very well. They just do a little bit of this.
I think the Hoxton does a really good job.
Boom. Yeah, love this. And the Ennismore really Group is such a good standout for that sort of thing. Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. Well, I would literally talk to you for 4 hours, no problem. You guys, you're going to get to meet Rupert in New York, and you're going to be so excited, because this is his energy all the time, like 7-year-old excited boy energy all the time. And I love it so much. Like, you're going to laugh, you're going to smile, you're going to have fun. Rupert does something I love, which is he wears life like a loose garment. And that's how we all should.
I'll take it. Thanks, Liz. Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you bet. Thank you so much for joining us and sharing your journey and your perspective. I absolutely adore you. I want to do anything I can to help you succeed, and I will. To everyone listening, make sure you like and follow and share the show. It helps us grow this community and bring more conversations that matter. And of course, get your tickets to Juicy in New York City. You can hit us up at na.juicy.co, where you will for sure see Rupert if you're lucky. And if you're listening to this, keep doing what you're doing. We're here to help you grow and thrive and succeed, because the more co-working in the world there is, the less loneliness. So take care of yourself, and Happy New Year.